You never think the biggest threat to your wife's high-risk pregnancy will be the nosy neighbor who thinks community standards give her a key to every door. But in Harmony Grove Estates, a picture-perfect slice of Southern California suburbia, where the lawns are always manicured and the rules are always watching, Karen Whitaker proved just how far a little HOA power could go before it imploded spectacularly. The lights in the Wellness Center's Ultrasound suite were dimmed low for comfort when the door swung open without so much as a knock. There stood Karen, clipboard in hand, blazer buttoned like armor, scanning the room as if she were conducting a surprise home inspection. My wife Lauren was lying on the table, gel on her stomach, 12 weeks along after 2 heartbreaking losses. The tech froze mid-scan. I stepped between them instantly. "Excuse me, this is a private medical appointment," I said, voice low but steel-edged. "You need to leave. Now." Karen didn't flinch. She smiled that thin, practiced smile of someone who believed titles made her untouchable. "Dr. Hale is it. As Vice President of the Harmony Grove HOA, I'm authorized to verify proper usage of our common facilities. The Wellness Center falls under Covenant Section 4.7. Community resources must align with residential character." I almost laughed. Almost. "This isn't your book club room, Karen. This is licensed medical space. HIPAA. State regulations. Ring any bells? Get out before I have you removed for trespassing." She tilted her head, eyes narrowing. "You're overreacting. I'm simply ensuring no one is running an unauthorized clinic out of HOA property. Think of the neighbors." Lauren's hand gripped mine tighter, her face pale. The tech looked like she wanted to disappear into the machine. I pulled out my phone. "Security's on speed dial. Last chance." Karen lingered for a dramatic 10 seconds, sighing like a martyr, before 2 burly guards escorted her out. The door clicked shut. But as the scan resumed and our baby's heartbeat filled the room, I knew this wasn't over. People like Karen don't retreat, they reframe defeat as defiance. Later that afternoon, as I helped Lauren into the car under the blistering California sun, my phone pinged. HOA violation notice. Subject: unauthorized commercial medical activity in shared facility. Fines threatened. Access restricted. Karen had wasted no time turning her ejection into documentation. That night, I drove to the HOA office alone, a beige fortress at the community entrance that always smelled like stale coffee and false authority. Karen was waiting, perched behind the desk like a queen on her throne. "You received our notice," she said smoothly, folding her hands. "We can discuss an appeal if you cooperate." "Cooperate?" I leaned forward. "You barged into my wife's prenatal scan. High risk, after 2 miscarriages. You scared her. And now you're citing rules that don't exist for licensed medical spaces? That's not oversight. That's harassment with extra steps." Her eyes flickered, but the smile stayed. "The covenants are clear. We maintain standards for everyone's benefit." "Standards that stop at the exam room door," I shot back. "Or do you plan to audit every doctor's appointment in the neighborhood? Because I have friends at the state medical board who'd love that story." The other residents in the waiting area shifted uncomfortably. An older man caught my eye and shook his head slightly, a silent good luck, she's relentless. By the next week, the pressure mounted. Karen called an emergency board meeting at the rec center, framing me as the troublemaker disrupting community harmony. Residents trickled in, some whispering about her past stunts, finding a family for the wrong shade of holiday lights, inspecting backyards without notice. One woman pulled me aside afterward. She did the same to my elderly mom, showed up unannounced claiming welfare check. I didn't yell or threaten. Instead, I documented everything. The clinic filed their own trespass report. I reached out to the maintenance supervisor, a nervous guy named Tony who admitted under his breath that Karen had pressured him for master keys, just to monitor compliance. "She thinks the whole place is her kingdom," he muttered. "My job's on the line if I push back." That's when the real game began. I looped in the state health department quietly. Medical privacy breaches in licensed facilities weren't HOA trivia. They triggered automatic reviews. Karen, meanwhile, doubled down, sending letters demanding usage logs and threatening liens on our property. The tension peaked on inspection day. I arrived early at the Wellness Center, parking across the street. Sure enough, Karen's Mercedes pulled up at dawn. She slipped inside with a folder, clearly intending to prepare the scene, probably scrubbing logs or posting new fake notices to cover her tracks. The state inspector, a no-nonsense woman named Reyes, arrived precisely on time. We entered together. There was Karen, caught red-handed fiddling with the access panel near the ultrasound room, her face draining of color when she saw us. "Ms. Whitaker," Reyes said flatly, State Health Department. "Care to explain why you're accessing restricted medical areas again?" "This is HOA business." Karen sputtered, clutching her clipboard like a shield. "Section 4.7 gives me." "Section 4.7 doesn't override HIPAA or state licensing laws," Reyes cut in, pulling out her tablet. Tony, the maintenance guy, stepped forward, finally finding his spine. He showed the digital logs. Karen's keycard swipes timestamped during off hours, multiple intrusions, including the day of our scan. The room went dead silent as Reyes photographed everything. "This constitutes repeated unauthorized access to protected health spaces. We'll be notifying your board, the insurers, and recommending revocation of any community oversight privileges here." Karen's face twisted, first rage, then panic. "You can't do this. I'm protecting the community." "No," I said quietly, meeting her eyes for the last time. "You're just a bully who finally ran into rules bigger than your little handbook." Word spread like wildfire through Harmony Grove. At the next public hearing, the auditorium was packed. Residents who'd stayed silent for years stood up one by one. Stories of petty fines, invasive inspections, power trips disguised as civility. Karen sat there shrinking, her usual bluster gone as the board, facing state pressure and skyrocketing insurance premiums, announced an emergency policy review and leadership changes. 2 weeks later, the email came. Karen Whitaker had resigned for personal reasons effective immediately. New guidelines were posted. No more HOA access to medical suites, period. The wellness center felt lighter, like the air itself exhaled. Lauren and I returned for her next scan. No interruptions. The tech smiled as the image of our growing baby filled the screen. Back home, we painted the nursery a soft sage green, hanging tiny clothes while laughing about how one woman's God complex nearly derailed everything. In the end, Karen didn't get dragged away in handcuffs. She didn't need to. She built her empire on the illusion of control, only to watch it crumble under the weight of actual accountability. The same rules she worshipped turned on her because real authority doesn't care about clipboard warriors. It cares about boundaries. The neighborhood looks the same on the surface, perfect lawns, smiling mailboxes. But now people knock before entering. They think twice. And that's the sweetest kind of karma, quiet, thorough, and completely self-inflicted. True or false, the real power abuser wasn't the doctor protecting his family, but the HOA Karen who believed her title let her invade anyone's most vulnerable moments without consequence. If these HOA nightmare stories hit home, drop your own experiences below and tell me where you're watching from. Who else has dealt with a neighborhood tyrant? Hit subscribe for more real-life dramas where the entitled get exactly what they deserve.